He's a driver of digitalization at Nokia. Welcome to the stage, Iikka Finning.
Thank you. All right, so welcome everybody. My topic today is utilizing digital twin of a laboratory in virtual reality. And in Nokia, actually with this case, with this use case example, I am showing you a reference about how virtual reality can be approached in industry. So in Nokia we create technology to connect the world, and with this laboratory we are virtualizing field testing of 5G mobile networks. And as a disclaimer, I am not going to speculate about Nokia's products or future or direction, and any views that I show here, or may present here, or forward-looking statements are my own entirely. So let's look for a background how traditional field testing looks like. We ship products, we ship antennas to some various locations all around the world, and then we lift them to some high support structures like this. You can see those in those green circles, and then we move the mobile phone around in that coverage area, and we measure how the data moves in that network. Let's then take a look at how this looks like in a virtual way. So in this laboratory we have few things that I want to point out first. There is this curvy wall, and then there is the control box that controls the wall. Then we can take their different 5G mobiles and 5G antennas. And this wall has dozens of these small probe antennas that can sense and send radio signals. And this control box can control which ones of these probes are active and when they are active and how active they are. And how does it work? We connect this 5G mobile into this control box, and then this control box takes the energy of this 5G mobile into this, let's say like one of these probe antennas, and then this 5G antenna senses that from that direction comes the energy of the signal of the mobile phone. So from the antenna's point of view, the phone is in that direction. And then if we activate different probes sequentially, it would be from the antenna's point of view, the phone would be moving like this. Then if we change the energy level coming from that probe, from the antenna's point of view, the phone is moving farther and closer. And that way, by combining those two elements, we can emulate the movement of the phone in front of it in free way. And let's take a look at how this looks like, this digital twin of this laboratory. It may look like this, or it may look like this with the signal visualized, or it may look like even this. So it's a possible. This laboratory has also capability of emulating effects of moving one phone or even several phones in an environment that can be replica of a real environment or completely imaginary. And then let's go through step by step how we have been building this, so it might open you a bit more. So in the beginning we just created the replica of this laboratory, this three-dimensional file of this laboratory. Then we made it possible to visit that replica in virtual reality, and then we made it possible to change these antennas that are being tested on this platform in front of this curvy wall. And the next thing what we did was we brought their measured radio signals, and then we developed ways to visualize those results. And that we did in really close cooperation with the laboratory personnel, so that we ensured the validity of what we are visualizing, so that we are not only visualizing visual art, because that doesn't add any value to our target audiences. The next thing we did was that we drilled a hole from reality to virtual reality. So we came from virtual reality to augmented virtuality. So it's just one step from merged reality, where actually Vario is going. And then we also had some talks about collaborative virtual reality, and we have also done something with that. because this laboratory has, over its roughly couple of years existence, it has been gathering quite substantial amount of interest around the world. So we have had every week at least one group visiting there, mostly external groups. And in the best day, a couple of weeks ago, we had 4 groups visiting one day. So obviously it disturbs a bit these activities in this laboratory. So it would be really beneficial to have these groups visiting there without disturbing the actual activities there. And also groups that could be accommodated simultaneously so that they wouldn't have to be necessarily aware that there are other groups visiting. And then we took some people for some users from different places around the world, and we also saw that this technology can help reducing processes like traveling, and also there are some green elements in this, even though it was not our key driver, it's anyway there. Let's take one step down deeper into this case. So let's talk about how we perceive the digital twin. Human eye, how we perceive this space, similarly like we perceive this laboratory. We get visible frequencies of light reflecting back from the surfaces into our eyes, and that's how I can see this space. And therefore, the most obvious visual manifestation of the digital twin of this laboratory in virtual reality, sorry for the long sentence, but anyway, so is this which has replicated what we see, and then we can augment that, like as has been happening in this picture. And then the antenna, if we think about the antenna, it doesn't have any senses to sense the visible light, so from its perspective the laboratory doesn't exist unless it's on. So this antenna, this 5G antenna that is being tested, it senses this radio signal coming from these probe walls of the antenna. And even though I can see that, okay, this already gives me some adding value, this information, it would be better if I can kind of dissolve this wall away and look through it and see what the antenna actually is seeing. And that has some usages that we will dive even deeper now. So let's talk about how this three-dimensional user experience can enhance our communication with the laboratory. So the laboratory works in the language that is as useful for the majority of the people as matrix code. So for the simplicity reason, let's use the term matrix code about that. And the gurus, the real specialists who have created this laboratory, they have no problem understanding that because they have created this laboratory. But it's, as I said, it's mostly useful for only them. And then if we think about how the gurus, these real specialists, they can, even though they think in highly abstractive ways in this matrix code, they still need some spoken language to communicate with verbs and the sentences and things like that. And still it's as useful as Hebrew or Sanskrit for the most of here in this audience. So most people fall behind that. That's a problem with all the spoken languages like Finnish or English or Swedish or Sanskrit or Sumerian. They are all so incredibly new languages that our brain is not made to understand any of them. We have to spend quite substantial time trying to learn to even understand those languages. So there are other languages that are actually hard-coded into our brain, and I think you know already where I'm going to. Because if you think about more, I know some mammals in this world, like not personally, but I know that like there are these, like almost all the mammals that I can think about, when they are born, their life depends on understanding the visual language that the nature speaks to them via their eyes. And we have, thanks to the evolution, tens of millions of years of hard coding done into our brain, so we will understand different language than this. So let the laboratories keep digging in matrix code, whatever, but then the guys who develop these antennas, these product developers, it would be, the laboratory is not of their interest, so they are just interested about how this laboratory can help them. So let's not torture them with the oscilloscopes or things like that, but let's them just see, for example, myself here without any RF background. I can see a bunch of things like where the frequency, where the radio signal should go, where it goes, how much energy goes where, and there are other things, but I don't have time to explain. But with the background, technical background of these guys, they can immediately see really much, even just opening their eyes and 30 seconds looking at this. It would take half an hour for them without this kind of communication to understand how the antenna is behaving. Then there are, you see, there is an issue with going forward. Can you help me somehow? Alright, so then there are these guys who would fall behind even with this because they don't have a background. Like, if you think about the baby when it's born, it has some stuff hard-coded into its brain. But then when any animal is born and grows up, it gathers life experience and it can digest what it sees a bit better. Similarly with these antenna developers, they have some competence and background and life experience, but then there are these guys who don't have that experience. From their point of view, it would be really much better to just see their own use case and concentrate in that. And that's where this becomes useful. And then we don't just need to be passive consumers of the information from this laboratory. We can also talk back to the laboratory and command it. And it's really obvious that the gurus, because they have to modify and morph the laboratory's functionalities, so they need to communicate to its deep down core language. And that happens behind VR, behind the scenes. And that happens with the Matrix code. Similarly, like in the movie Matrix, these guys who hacked Matrix, they did it outside of Matrix. And then these product developers, because they consume this virtual reality way of communication here, they can choose and they can start and they can stop tests inside virtual reality, and then they can immediately see if their product behaves as it should, or if there is something that needs to be changed, and even what it is that should be changed. And then there are these guys in the end of the food chain that can actually, if you think about how this could benefit them the most, it's totally all right from their point of view that they don't even know that the laboratory exists. Believe it or not, every one of you work like that too. Because if you think about taking a flight, you will probably be really not worried about what kind of, you don't think about avionics or aerodynamics or what kind of kerosene the plane is using and what kind of CPUs are working to make the phone stay in the air. So similarly, these guys, they would be perfectly happy that their use case that is of their interest, they would be interested, like, would my drone be able to perform this kind of crazy movements or not, enabled by this network, so connectivity solution that is available for them. So let's not even torture them with the existence of the laboratory or matrix languages or other type of Hebrews. So they just can modify their use case, and then they would ask from some magical entity like mirror on the wall, tell me if my drone will fall or something like that. And then this magically answers like, okay, your drone will be all right. And then they believe it because they have, after some years or moments, I don't know how long it takes for the big audience to really acquire this technology, but they will believe that. They will just operate in these kind of levels. And then, how does it help? The most of the guys are in this end of the food chain. So then if we think about the target audiences of our environment and the things that we have been creating here, most of the people, every one of these target audiences will benefit from this laboratory when we let the laboratory communicate in them about the use case that they are interested. So as an end result, there is no need for anybody to learn any funny new codes or foreign languages. The only thing that they will need is their need and their life experience and ability to see. Thank you. Time's up.
Awesome. Thank you, Iikka. One word to describe it is just like, whoa. Question from the audience. I could ask something. You have your own studies also in psychology, and like when I've asked about all of you speakers here about people and their point of view, is it going to be like an employee or people all together? You actually said then quite in the end of the presentation that you can't, no one of us can estimate when we have anything like this in real life. But do you, for example, in Nokia, do you have end users and their experience, or do you ask end users when you develop something like that, these technologies and that?
I would say mostly not. I trust my hunch, but like hunch, just using the word referring to some lately news. But it's not just a hunch. I believe that, like, I've read basic books of psychology and Aristotle's rhetorics and things like that, and I concentrate on how we are hard-coded. I've read some history too, like and biology, and I try to figure out how to communicate to the caveman that we are, and then, as a result, I believe that we can, if we communicate directly to the caveman that we are, utilizing the oldest languages that we know, we can reduce the need for intelligence and memory and motorical skills and things like that. So we can board more people to benefit from the technology. And you said that I didn't actually mean that it will take a long time to get this technology to exist. That's not what I meant. Some of the things that I showed here are not yet up and running, but most are.
True. Thank you, Iikka Finning.
Thank you.